Hey Jim, how you doing?
Um, Physically, I'm doing really well.
Yeah, well, I was hoping to get some clarity, not just on Chris Likes and what's going on with him, but also with all the other seniors, I guess, Nasir, um, Rodney, Sam, Cam. Like, I know before the season you said they were all going to leave and not come back. They have the option to come back. Have you gotten any clarity on if any of those guys might return? If you can update that, and also Chris's status. Thanks.
Okay. First of all, if you look at our roster, it's very conceivable that you would consider these guys eight seniors on our team. Eight. Willie Harrington is a walk-on, so he's non-scholarship. He will graduate and he will move on. All right. Elijah Alani is a transfer who was supposed to sit out this year that they've made eligible. We are hoping that he will return because he will probably need, as a transfer student, at least another semester in order to earn his degree. Okay, so now we're down to six. Dang Gak is the one that this is the year that he's played more games than in his previous three seasons. He redshirted as a freshman. He only played 7 games as a sophomore, 8 games as a junior, and he's already played, I believe, 11 or 12 games this season. And yesterday, he got some medical treatment for his knees that they're hoping will give him a little more relief so that he can practice and play more. Um, so, in all likelihood, Dang will probably graduate and move on. Rodney Miller, I know was planning to earn his master's degree this year and move on. With the injury, I was not going to bring up and discuss with him anything long term because we don't know exactly how that knee is going to respond to rehabilitation. Nasir Brooks has only played these 13 games with us. He's a transfer student. He should earn his degree by the end of this year, and it will be up to him and his guardian to make a determination of whether it's worth it to return to college and continue classes or move on. One of the interesting things is Naz and I have been talking about him developing a business plan for his cooking. He's looking at developing like a website where he can teach cooking online to other students and student athletes who live off campus, do not have a lot of money, have a small budget, and have to cook for themselves and shop for themselves. So whether Naz would seriously consider coming back or pursue the option, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of agents wanting to represent him as a pro athlete. Cam McGusty is a fifth-year senior. He'll graduate and in all likelihood have the opportunity to play professional basketball. I have not spoken to him about returning. I plan to do that after the season, not during. I have had that conversation with Chris Likes while he's been hurt, and he hadn't given any thought to his future yet. As far as his status is concerned, he's still doing physical therapy, and he will not play Sunday against Notre Dame. Sam Wardenberg broke his foot. He's out for 5 months. He's been at every practice. He travels to every game. He's actually doing a terrific job working on his shot. And he will have an opportunity to go back home to New Zealand or Australia and play professionally. He will probably, consider the possibility of staying in school, which is what I've encouraged him to do because he's still very young. Even though we have, I'll say 8 seniors, he's by far the youngest. He's only 21 years old. Have I missed anybody?
I think you hit the basics. Let's see. You got
Chris,
here,
Cam,
Rodney, Sam, Cam,
Elijah,
Chris. Yeah.
Cam. I got everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for the long answer. I appreciate it.
Yeah, just
All right, now we'll go to Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris.
Coach, Cameron McGusty has featured in some of your most effective lineups this season, your 5-man. Just maybe the impact that he brings now that he's back. And then also 20 minutes last game. Is that about what you'd like, at least in this shortcoming with his return, about in that range?
well, what I've shared with the coaches and I'm about to share with the team is that we're looking very closely at what we need to do to proceed. We've already had 5 different starting lineups in 12 games. We're considering starting our 6th different starting lineup for Sunday. We've had so many different questions without having a clear-cut answer to them. When we were planning for the season, and this is just an example, Sam Wardenberg was likely to be our starting 4-man. And then he was going to be backed up by Anthony Walker, a sophomore, and Matt Cross, a freshman. But by the time the season started, Sam was out, Matt Cross was the starting 4-man, and Anthony Walker was his backup. And then this past week, Anthony Walker was the starter and Matt was his backup. And now we're even considering going to a 4-guard lineup. We've also played Earl Timberlake at the 4 and Elijah Olaniyi. So it basically means we miss Sam because of his ability to guard and rebound. And we're trying a lot of different possibilities at that 4 because Nate Leshevsky for Notre Dame is their leading scorer and in position to be a first or second team all-conference player. So we got to figure out the best way to guard him.
Up next, we have Wyatt Kopelman from the Miami Hurricane. Wyatt.
Coach, as reiterated in the press conference after the Syracuse game, you all had a lot of trouble just scoring against that pressing zone defense. What has been the team's main approach to really doing better against those zone defenses and just trying to score a lot more consistently against Notre Dame?
Well, the first thing we did is we gave the players 2 days off. We needed some rest. We have guys like Cam McGusty's a good example who hadn't played. He'd only played in the Clemson game since our Florida Gulf Coast game back in December. You know, we're now talking late January, and he's basically only played 20 minutes against Syracuse and 20 minutes against Clemson. And Cam is such an important player for us. Not only is he a senior, but he's one of our best three-point shooters. And he hasn't had the kind of senior year where he's healthy and playing like he practiced all through September and October and November. So we need to get him back and doing well so that we're not asking someone who's not a skilled three-point shooter to shoot threes. If we had Cam and he's healthy, he might be able to bust that zone, kind of like DJ Vasiljevic did for us for 4 years. So we've got to get Cam, and I won't know this until after practice today and tomorrow, of whether that hamstring has really responded well and that he's close to being 100%. Because clearly, when you don't practice, it makes a huge difference in terms of your conditioning.
Up next, we have Steve Wine from the Associated Press. Steve.
Jim, we're going to talk to Isaiah here in a minute. I am wondering, how would you describe the role that he has had to assume this season compared with what you would have envisioned for him, say, back in October?
Well, the coaches had a staff meeting one day, and I asked them who are our best scorers, not evaluating defense or rebounding or ball handling, just who can put the ball in the basket. And very consistently, the two names that came up were Chris Likes and Isaiah Wong. So we expected him to be a double-figure scorer, a guy who could score in a lot of different ways, driving to the basket, making an assortment of layups, getting to the foul line and making his free throws at a very high rate, making some threes, even though he's not a guy, he's not a DJ Vasiljevic who really just thrives on three-pointers. But he's also terrific in the open court attacking. I met with Chris, Isaiah, and Cam, and I basically told them, you are our three best shooters, scorers, assist men, and you guys have to learn to play really well together because you're probably going to be on the court together for 30 minutes or more. And they're very good individually. They weren't always good at sharing the ball with each other. So because they all have the scorer's mindset, I'm going to just take my man and score, and they're all good at it. But for us to be really good, they needed to bring out the best in each other. So when I penetrate, I don't always shoot. I throw it to one of my teammates. So I expected an awful lot from Isaiah, long before the season started. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have those other two guys alongside of him doing the same thing.